So a few weeks ago, I was doing one of our ProGolfGals tips with my partner in crime, Denise. I'll put a link to that video, and it was all about the lob shot up and over the bunker. And we had a comment on that video, and the lady said, because we had mentioned that the more loft on the club, the more risk. And I didn't actually explain any further on that, which I should have at the time. And she said, why is the more loft more risk? And I thought, that's a great question. We should do a whole tip on that one all on its own. So let me talk to you a little bit. There's two reasons why the more loft on the club, the more risk for the shot. So obviously when you've got a fairly straight-faced club, say you were chipping with like an 8-iron, like a chip and run or something. So an 8-iron would have loft a little bit like this. You can see there that that club face is going to connect with the ball fairly easily, and it's a fairly straight on sort of situation, and there's really not much that can go wrong, but the ball will come out low and it will run. Now if we then add loft onto the club, which is what I'm doing here, you can see that's about the angle that the club would be. Now have a look here. You can see that there is a lot less club face now about to connect with the ball. In fact, it's very easy for the club to come up and connect here on the ball. Now that's when you scull the ball over the back of the green. Or if you hit the ground a little bit heavy, that's when you duff it and it just sort of plops forward. Whereas if they're in this position, if you hit a little bit heavy, you're still going to collect the ball okay. And if you come up a little bit, it's still gonna, with the less loft, it's still gonna run, which is the shot that you were planning. But if you're trying to play a shot that goes up high over a bunker and lands, and you've really got to get that club coming in right at the right spot. So that's the main reason why more loft equals more risk. But the other reason is that when you're playing a shot that goes high up and lands onto the green, the force that is required is greater to lift up. So the ball's got to go further. So basically, the length of your swing has to be longer. So to get the ball up and on, as opposed to a little low running shot, we need a longer backswing. So when the length of the backswing increases, then things can really go wrong. So if you do that shot we talked about where you hit high up on the ball off a long backswing, that's that one that's going sailing over the back and generally into the bunker over the back of the green. We've all done it. So that's the two reasons why more loft equals more risk, because with that shot you're actually sort of hitting more with the blade than with the face, and you tend to need a longer backswing to take the ball up and on. So the longer the backswing, the more that can go wrong. If it does go wrong, it's really going wrong. Whereas if you just had a little chip and run with the backswing that long, because it's just going to land and run, much less that can go wrong. So hopefully that's explained a little bit more of why the extra loft is more risky. So how do we overcome that? Then use as little loft as you can in any one situation. So if you can play a little chip and run where it's a little low, just get it onto the front of the green and run it to the back where the pin is. Use your 8 or your 7. If you do have to come up and over something, over a bunker, or the pin's right at the front, you want to land it and stop it, then add your loft to the club. But again, practice it, get out onto your practice areas. There's nothing that beats that feeling of confidence that you get from practicing when there's no pressure. So find yourself a nice practice area, even in the backyard or the back garden if you've got some grass. You can pitch into a laundry basket, so pitch at home, that sort of stuff. So just get confident with the loft, because it is really handy to have that loft. That's why we have these clubs, and they've, in the last 10 or 20 years, they've added more loft. There's a 60 degree nowadays, which allows you to really pop it up and stop it quick. But it's a high risk shot, so get confident, do some practice, even get some lessons if you want to on playing with loft, because if you don't play that shot, or if you can't play that shot, you really cannot get your handicap lower than a certain level. So good luck, do some practice with it, that's the key, and learn to love that loft.